Okay, so last lesson we ended with Python upper, which will put everything that you want to put as all capitalized letters. Okay, so there's an exercise that we're gonna do right now in a bit. It's you're using the dot title method to title case the string hello world. And it's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, let's just go ahead and do it right now. Whenever you are doing stuff that's real quick and you forget to put capitalized letters in the first words of everything, and you want them to go ahead and be capitalized, and you want to go ahead and do an input on this when you do hello world, you want to go ahead and correct that issue. And the easiest way to do that is if you want to just go ahead and go back and put capital H and capital W. But and the other way to do it is you put dot title at the end, just like everything else that we put everything uppercase and stuff like that. When you run it, instead of it being all lowercase on your print statement of hello world, it's hello world with capital H and capital W. So now there are some other things that I want to go ahead and mention too, which is the ORD and the CHR function. The ORD function, it gets the eight. Well, let me go ahead and say the American Standard Code for Information Interchange, which is the ASCII value of a character. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on that real quick. And to do that, is ORD, do capital A, okay, I forgot one thing, capital A, okay, so the output for this should have a value or number of 65. Okay. 65. Now if we go ahead and do this lowercase, let's see what happens. The value changes to 97 of a character. Okay, so every character, uppercase, lowercase, has a different value. Okay, and to find the number for a letter, you do ORD. Okay, which is order. Now, if you want to find the CHR, which is character, we're going to do 65. Yes, 65. The output should be capital A. Let's go ahead and run it. Capital A. You can go ahead and start playing around with this. You can look at the, you can go ahead and do your name, your actually your number, first letter, or anything like that you want to do to find yourself your order number and your character letter. Now, another thing you can do is you can suppress new lines in the print function. You can suppress the new line character at the end of the print by specifying AND value. And to do that, print hello and equals. See right there? It's actually a command. Oops. Do that. All right. And it just says hello. We'll get a little bit more into the end value later on. I just wanted to bring it up because it's part of the understanding on strings in Python. So as soon as we start, getting all this, you start getting familiarized with everything, then we can start breaking it down into making codes that will make more sense once we start understanding what slicing strings are, what how to do repetition of a string, and do all this other awesome stuff. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get a little bit, pick up a little bit more on this, and we're gonna go ahead and put print then we're going to go ahead and put world with and we're going to see the difference of what just happened right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and put a space in here. Okay, so what just happened here? Okay, when the end value is put in there, which is command, is saying that there's going to be something else involved into this. So when you put print hello, and then you put print world on a different, on the one under it, it's going to combine it together, and that's what the end equals means. Is the equals means you're going to add hello and world together. Okay, so let's also keep that in mind when you want to use the end and you want to add something else to it on the second line. You can go ahead and combine it by doing the end equals. Now if you don't have nothing on the other line like I did before, then it's just going to say hello. But in most cases, when you start doing coding, you got to be careful with that end equals, because it's going to actually grab the other line, and if you want that program of the other line to be something else going forward, it's going to mess up your program. Now, one other thing that we can do the hello world with the end is, now if you want to go ahead and do a separator on the print function, we can also do that. You can specify the separator between multiple arguments in the print function, and the way we do this is by, let's go ahead and do it. You know, at print hello space world. Okay, so this is already separated, but you want to put a separation. Okay, so separation equals, okay, and what you want to separate it with is up to you, but we're going to go ahead and put a slash. Give me 1 minute, let's see what happened. Okay, I forgot that right there. Okay, so the separation that we put was a dash, so it says hello dash world, and that's how you separate arguments. Now you can, you know, strings can also do comparisons from apples to peaches, apples to bananas. And one way to do that is, let's say you put apple, and you want to compare it with bananas. Okay, this comparison up on the output for this should be false. Okay, because it's not the same. It's not the same thing. Apple and bananas are totally different. Okay, so let's say apple and apple. Why it didn't give me a, give me 1 minute real quick. We're gonna skip into that one. I'm gonna do a little bit more research on why that happened. Let's go ahead and move on to strings can't be changed once created. Any operation that seems to modify a string actually creates a new string. So let's say, for example, word equals Python, and you want to replace it with a new word. So new underscore word equals word dot replacement, well, replace, and then you here you're gonna add what you want to do. So the P, you want it to change to J. Okay, then you're gonna put print new word. Python. Even I make mistakes, guys. Okay, so here word Python old P new J, so it's already defining what is needs to be a change on the word Python. When you run the code, the P here is now J. Okay, so if you want to replace something, a word, that's how you replace it. You replace. Now let's say you have Python and you want to replace it with Joe. That's how you do the whole word as well. Sometimes, like, let's say that on your code you are seeing Python on something that you don't want it to be saying Python, because now it's not considered to be Python, it's considered to be Java, and you want that to be implemented. You can't go back into your code and start changing every single thing, because it's once you write it, the code it's going to be set in stone. So you have to create a new string to go ahead and change the word going forward. Okay, and I'm not saying going back, because unless you want to change the whole program from Python to Java, then that's a totally different thing. This is just for things that you want to change going forward. Okay, so if you want to format string using the format function, this helps to format strings. So if you want to format a string, you put print hello, okay, comma, comma. Let's go ahead and do the open and close. One dot format. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and put world. OMG. World. Okay. So the output for this, if done correctly, it's going to say hello world. Okay. And of course I messed up right here by putting 2 instead of 1. Okay, hello world. And that's pretty much what it is. It's just a format. You're writing the same thing. You don't really, a lot of these functions you don't really have to use, because if you notice, if you just put hello comma world, it's still going to give you the same thing. It's just that there's different ways of you doing certain things. And you can actually put hello world and put spaces and stuff like that on your own, and you're getting the same thing as the format function. But it's good to know that there's things out there that are available to make it easier for most people, easier, or for most people a little bit more complicated because they could easily do it with just putting spaces. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. And there are some things that you can do for testing strings. For example, if you want to check if all characters are alphanumeric, to test that, and I'm just going to go ahead and write them down. I'm not really going to go that much into detail because it's not really used that much. Okay, so that's one. Okay, if you want to check to see if all characters are alphanumeric. Now the other one, check if all characters are alphabetic. And that's going to be okay. And then these are not really used that much, so I'm not really going to go that much into detail. Check if all characters are digits. It's going to be okay. If you want to check if all characters are lower or uppercase, and let's just go ahead and do this because I'm trying to. Okay, not make it so it messes up right now when I run things. Now this is one thing that we'll be talking about a little bit more later on. Check if all characters are white spaces. For this one is space. Okay. Later on, we'll get more into these details. It's not really relevant right now to go ahead and go into them right now, because then there's ones that we should go into more into detail. For example, the find method, find the index of the first occurrence of a substring. That one is to find it is that way. It's pretty simple. If you want to replace occurrences of a substring with another substring, you do replace. So let me go ahead and work with you guys on these real quick, so that way you guys have a general idea of what these are. Even though I did mention we're gonna go ahead and work on these a little bit more later on. That way you guys kind of understand what I mean by these. Just give me one. So I didn't want to make this longer than it should be, but since we went ahead and put these here, I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys some examples on these, so that, and then we're gonna go ahead and end it here, and then we're gonna go ahead and do the other ones. That way it wouldn't be confusing for you guys and be like, hey, you know what, you didn't explain those. So let's just go ahead and do that. Now for this, we're gonna go ahead and do this one first. And what that usually is it's a method in Python to check if a string contains only alphabetic characters like letters and numbers. It returns true if all characters in the string are alphabetic, and false otherwise. Okay, so let me go ahead and write the program, and then we're gonna see if it's true or false of the program that I just went in and created.